Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of GameSpark. Today is episode 11, and I have another fantastic guest for you all here. So if you could go ahead and introduce yourself, that would be amazing.
I certainly can. Hello, everyone. I am ZeCollector, or ZeCollector, however, that's
Okay, so I
just
have been
how I
pronouncing
say
it
it.
correctly over all
Yes,
those
it
times.
is. It is ZeCollector.
Okay,
But
fantastic.
there's a whole story behind it with me and my cousin and ZeCollector. But yeah,
Oh, like the collector.
yes,
ZeCollector.
but just in a weird. He was like, I don't know, 8 years old, and we were playing Nerf guns, and he kept picking up all of the bullets, and he'd run around and be like, ZeCollector, ZeCollector. So I actually stole it from my cousin.
Sense. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Okay. Collector is a member of my Twitch community, and he is a lovely person, and I am very much looking forward to hearing all of his game things. So let's get right into our first question. My first question for you is, what is your earliest gaming memory?
So there's two possibilities.
You're only allowed one. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Two.
Okay. Well, I have none. It's all a blur.
No, you are allowed take it away.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where it's like it's one or the other. I don't know which one happened first, but they all live in the same realm of time
Yeah.
in my brain when I was a child. So it's either watching my cousin play the original Super Mario World on the SNES.
Oh, okay. That's the one with like
Right?
the cape.
The cape
Yeah,
and Yoshi, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah.
And we would go down to Florida and visit my aunt and uncle, and basically it was like our summer vacation. So we'd go down there, and we didn't have any video games, any video game consoles, and they had an SNES, and so we would watch him. Me and my sister would watch him play Super Mario, and sometimes we would play. I was terrible, and I think that's why I am not a huge Mario fan to this day. 'Cause,
Mario's
like,
challenging.
it was hard.
Platforming, like, especially ye oldie platforming, is like.
There's my cat, everyone. Just FYI, she's gonna make some
I love
noise.
that! Oh my gosh, that was amazing. She's like,
Ye
I
olde platforming.
agree.
Me too. Yep.
Mario's hard. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. I have played Super Mario World and I like it, but it's really challenging. So I can totally understand.
So it's either that, or it would be all of the like early to mid 90s PC games, like all those education games.
Oh,
that
tell
you
me
would
about these games
play.
because I did not have a PC in the 90s.
Oh, okay. So we had Oregon Trail 2, which
Not the
most
first one?
I feel we did not have the first one. We
Okay.
had the second one,
Okay.
which I believe was released in 94, 95. Yeah, Oregon Trail is a great one. And then there was one in particular that stands out to me, which is Mech Warriors 2. Was another PC game, came out in like the
Okay.
early 90s, and you played as these big mechs and you would battle each other, and it was a two-player game. And so that was the one that me and my
Nice.
sister could fight each other as these like machines. So fun.
Okay, is your sister older or younger than you?
Older, 2.5 years
Okay.
older.
Okay.
So that was really the only thing. It was way too mature for me at the time. Like I should not have been playing that game. But I don't think my parent, it was the 90s. And then Lemmings is another one that sticks in my brain.
Okay,
Lemmings,
I
the
have
little
heard of
dudes that you kind of
Lemmings.
from what I remember, they basically auto move in a line, and you have to try and get as many of them to the end as you can. And they're obstacles, and you have to open up paths. It's very, very vague in my memory of how it actually works. But if you don't get enough Lemmings or any of the Lemmings to the end, you lose.
You
I
fail.
think that was we had a free demo on the computer. It was like a Windows 95 built-in demo or something. So yeah, it's one of those two. Those are kind of my earliest gaming memories, are playing
Perfect
PC games and watching my cousin play Super Mario.
Okay, so my next question for you is, what is your Spark game, which is the game that really, really got you into gaming forever?
This one is very clear. There's no, it's one or the other. Like, it's Pokemon.
Everybody says Pokemon.
Pokemon
I love that.
is one of those that if it got you good.
Okay.
And then if you miss the boat, then there are very
I
few
missed that
people
boat.
that I know that played a couple of the games and were kind of like, yeah, it was fine. If you started or could start when it came out, you were either a Pokemon fanatic or you never played it and didn't care. I was the Pokemon fanatic. I was completely obsessed.
And I was the one that never played it and didn't care.
Yeah. So my first game that I ever got as a kid, we didn't have any consoles, anything. Then we got the Game Boy.
Oh my gosh, you have
Color.
your original Game Boy?
This is my original Game Boy Color from 2000.
Oh my gosh.
When I got this. It's still got the stickers on it.
It sure does.
Little stickers on it.
Looks like something my 9-year-old would do.
And in the back is
there it is.
Pokemon. This is the first game I ever was gifted from Santa Claus.
Santa
Pokemon
knows. He
Gold
knows.
and Silver.
Okay.
And that was the second generation of Pokemon games. So I do have Pokemon Yellow here as well. So this was generation 1. But Gold and Silver was generation 2, and that was my first game, and it just changed my entire life because I would sit there on this thing forever. It was the best. And so yeah, that was my spark game. It was everything to me. Me and my neighbors would play. It was the best. Pokemon's amazing. And
I really think that's sweet though, because it kind of brought people together. Where where a lot of like boomers or a lot of this like the older generation are like, these video games are making kids antisocial and violent. But at the same time, like, I can totally appreciate, I may not be into like Call of Duty or Pokemon because I never played Pokemon, so I have never played a Pokemon game. But I kind of am bummed I missed out on that camaraderie, because what a cool experience to be able to play that with people and like really love on that together. You are not the first person that has said Pokemon was your spark game and that it literally like brought you together with friends or family or whatever. And I think that's wonderful. I don't see how that could possibly be a bad thing other than playing it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end and your parents being like, get off your Game Boy.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. It was like, where's the limit? And it's like,
yes,
you had batteries in the back of these.
Right.
So it's like you'd play it till the battery died, and then it was like, oops. Yeah. We have to ask mom and dad for more double A's. It was the whole universe around Pokemon. To your point, it brought us together. We would go outside and we'd play our Game Boys in the little sand castle or sandbox fort thing. Mm-hmm. And then we'd put the Game Boy down. We'd play for 20 minutes. We'd put our Game Boys down. We'd go into the sandbox and we'd build our own little Pokemon world. And so we would take what was happening in the game and then try and recreate that in real life. Oh my
gosh, I love that.
So it became this multiverse.
It wasn't just a game. It wasn't just a video game.
It wasn't just the Game Boy game that we were playing. It got me into gaming, but it just kind of changed my life. I would be a very different person if I never played or knew about Pokemon. So
okay, my next question for you is, what is the first game you beat all by yourself?
All right, this is gonna come as a total shock to you. It's Pokemon.
I was gonna say 100% Pokemon. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Okay.
It's the first game that I had. So yeah, Pokemon Silver was the first game that I ever beat completely on my own, and it was. I remember Pokemon it's as hard as the difficulty kind of scales based on what you're willing to do.
Okay.
So if you just want to blast through it with one Pokemon, you're gonna struggle. But if you take your time, and we were kids, we wanted to catch everything. We wanted certain ones, and so
you're the collector.
I am
so
ZeCollector.
You wanted all the Pokemon.
And it was part of the point too. Gotta catch them all, Pokemon.
Yeah.
So it would behoove you to catch as many Pokemon as you could and diversify your team. But it was a lot different back then with so few options. Yeah. So Pokemon Silver, first game I ever had, first game I ever beat completely on my own.
Totally on your own.
I didn't look anything up, and we can't. But it's easy enough for kids to get through.
Okay. My next question is, what 3 games have impacted you the most?
So for me, I would say this one was pretty clear to me. Final Fantasy X impacted me in many ways. Here is my original Final Fantasy X.
Oh my gosh. Original. Oh, dang.
This is the
OG.
Final Fantasy X
PlayStation 2. Do you
disc.
still have your PlayStation 2?
I do. I still have my PlayStation 2. That game it was unlike anything, well, lies. It was like something I had played before, but it was wholly unique in and of itself as well. And the story, the graphics, the music, it made me feel like I was experiencing something completely new on so many different levels. Beyond just like, oh, this is a fun game, or this is a hard game, or this is cool. It was like multiple occasions of, wow, amazing new cinematic or orchestral music I've never heard, or like an arrangement of something I've never heard, and it's in a game. And then, wow, like a character thing that I've never thought could exist, and it's in a game. Oh, wow, a battle system I never thought could exist. It's in a game. It all just kind of hit me in new ways. Like, this is so impactful. I've played that game so many times, and I think back on it frequently. So it was just amazing. And that game was fantastic. But another number 2 is Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, so Disney was a big part of our childhood, and it just looked like such a cool game to me.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, like this Disney game that's not just Disney. Like there's more to it.
Yeah, it had a lot of heart.
Yeah, it's one of those, again, I feel like if you miss the boat, you kind of miss the boat fully.
Yeah.
There is no
getting on the boat now.
I do think that there's value for people if they are as big of a Disney fan now as they would have been back then.
I don't know if
that
I am.
You might find value in it. But for me, it was just that game was so interesting. So we got the PS2 and then got Kingdom Hearts. So that was the first game that I got on PS2, and I have my original once again.
Greatest hits. Look at that.
Greatest hits.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
And the best part about this is the greatest hits would happen in like a month. It would sell well, and then they would be like,
This is amazing. Man.
Greatest hits.
Just slap that on that cover right now. Still in the future.
So yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1 is another one that impacted me the most for many of the reasons I just described. But it was the first game I ever played that expanded my understanding of what a game could be. Beyond just a handheld little Game Boy, Pokemon, Kirby type of universe with graphics and music very similar to Final Fantasy X. So Kingdom Hearts is the reason I became interested in Final Fantasy. So I played Kingdom Hearts first.
So you played Kingdom Hearts first. Oh, interesting.
I played Kingdom Hearts
okay.
first. It's basically Disney characters and Final Fantasy characters, and then the protagonist and 2 of his friends are new, made-up characters that live in
and
the
then
Kingdom
everybody else is copyrighted.
Everybody else is either Disney or Final Fantasy.
Oh, that's wild.
And so I
missed that.
Cloud, I met Sephiroth, I met Aerith, I met Tifa and Yuffie and all of these characters.
Through Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, I met all of those characters through Kingdom Hearts. I met the protagonist of Final Fantasy X through Kingdom Hearts, but I didn't know it at the time. And so then I was like, oh, this Final Fantasy thing, like that sounds, if it's like Kingdom Hearts, I have to play that.
Kind of like that.
And so I got Final Fantasy X, and that blew my mind. It was like, oh my gosh, it's the same people. Whoa!
But I met all these people. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
it's
like,
crazy.
It's this guy and it's that guy. Like,
I had no idea. I guess I had no idea Kingdom Hearts was. Now that I think about it, I don't think I realized Kingdom Hearts was a crossover of Final Fantasy and Disney. I thought it looked like a Final Fantasy ripoff. Like I could see the Final Fantasy-ness of it, but I didn't realize there were there were actual already created Final Fantasy characters in the game. I thought it was all Disney characters.
No, so Square Enix developed what they essentially wanted to create a Final Fantasy game through the lens of Disney. And I want to be very clear for the listening audience. I am only speaking about Kingdom Hearts 1 right now. Because
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts is a whole universe with appendages that are just
Okay.
so confusing, and I'm not talking about Kingdom Hearts in general. To me, Kingdom Hearts is the first game.
Okay.
That is Kingdom Hearts 1.
Got
That's
it.
this. So yeah, that was like a Final Fantasy with Disney, and it was just fantastic. Like, again, the music, the story, the graphics. There were moments where we call it the good graphics, where there'd be a cutscene.
Oh, yeah.
There were like 3 levels. There was gameplay graphics where the mouth is just like
Yeah.
it's not even a mouth, it's just, pixels that kind of
Yes.
move up and down.
Yes.
And then you have the semi-good graphics, which is the mouth now animates, but it's not like super well done.
Yeah.
And then you have the good graphics. And that's when it's a cutscene and it's like fully rendered and everything's happening. Like, what?
Mind
This looks
blown. Yeah.
Unreal.
I can
And
hardly tell it's even animated. Like, it looks so
seriously, like,
real.
that's a real man.
That's a
Like,
person.
real.
Okay, what
Yeah,
is your
so the graphics of
third?
Kingdom Hearts, and then segues into Final Fantasy X. Very similar
Right.
reasons why those impacted me. The third one is Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, which I have here somewhere. And the reason for this one, which everybody knows this game.
Yeah, I was
Come
gonna
on.
say, you don't have to explain. Like, you can just say that.
I don't have
We're
to
just-
explain.
Everybody
I
understands.
do have the physical copy because any franchise or game I really love, I must buy. The
Okay,
physical copy.
I normally do buy digital because I'm lazy and because I'm impatient, but I do have the physical Breath of the Wild.
This one, well, in terms of impact, I took a very long break where I didn't play games, probably like nearly a decade, and that started pretty much once I started college. I was far too busy, just constantly working.
Yeah.
Get out of college, applying for jobs, get a job, working, just trying to really hustle and build my life. So Breath of the Wild kind of got me back into gaming, and I didn't play it until early 2022.
Oh, okay. When was it released? 2007.
Middle of
2017.
2017. Yeah.
Dang.
So I always wanted to play Breath of the Wild, but I knew nothing about it. And then my cousin, my lovely ZeCollector, the original collector,
The
my cousin,
original.
he got me Breath of the Wild for either my birthday or Christmas, which land around the same time. And I played it, and it just, in a similar way to Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy X, that just reframe your idea of what a video game can be. After such a long break of, and I had, prior to that, I had been playing other games. Like, I had started playing again, but nothing really grappled me. And I booted up Breath of the Wild, and it blew my mind. The first open world game I'd ever played.
Do you know what? I think it was the first open world game I ever played as well, where there were literally no rules.
No rules.
It was, you could go anywhere.
Just
good
luck.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing, like, what really set it apart for me was the fact that you had complete free reign, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so cool. Like, I can just go anywhere, and it's amazing.
Insane.
And like, that was a big part of it for me, was just the freedom and the ability to just, if I want to go there, even if I can't now, I can try, and I will learn through failing that I can't get there yet.
Yeah.
The game won't stop me because I'm not supposed to go there.
Yes.
It will stop me because I don't yet have the tools to get there.
Or I just
But if
can't
I
think
did-
outside the box how to get there.
Or haven't figured out exactly. The tools
Yeah.
might just be a mindset of, I need to
Yes.
move around or try and find the most optimal way, or use certain items to increase my stamina so I can get up. Far
Yes.
enough. But they don't say no because you're not supposed to go there. This is not a spoiler, but there are certain ways that in the very beginning of the game, you're kind of gently nudged as maybe this is a way you want to go. And you can completely ignore that if you want. I ignored that and found a patch of grass and realized that I could find something in that grass. And so then I wanted to find more of those things in the grass, and I cut grass for like 6 hours. And my cousin was texting me. He's like, "How's it going? Where are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm on this hill and I'm cutting grass." what? It's like, yeah, it's amazing. I found, X amount of this thing, and I found like 827 crickets. And I'm like, you're just cutting
You're
grass
just
and
cutting grass.
collecting crickets? It's like, yeah, but I can sell the crickets for like $2. That's like $1,600.
Were you not listening when Zelda was like, Link, you are our only hope? And you're
Oh,
like,
she kept telling me, and I was like, what does
BRB!
this mean? Like, I don't get it. I'm just gonna
Selling crickets.
And so I did that. Like, yeah, I literally spent a good 6 hours out of my first 10 cutting grass.
I never took the time to cut grass in Breath of the Wild, except at the very beginning when I only had my 3 little hearts and I was trying to fight bokoblins and I was
Your 3 little hearts.
my 3 little hearts, and I was woefully underprepared. And I had like a stick, and I was trying to kill these bokoblins and they kept killing me, and so I kept running around and cutting grass looking for hearts. Because in Zelda, that's what you do.
Oh.
You cut the grass and it gives you hearts and
And
rupees.
it gives you hearts and rupees.
And all of a sudden, it hit me like a lightning bolt that I saw this wild boar off in the distance, and I was like, they want me to freaking hunt.
I have to
actually catch
hunter-gatherer
my
now.
food? What? So like,
Now I can
you
do stuff.
don't get hearts. You legitimately have to like nourish yourself like a real human being.
Yeah.
Got it.
Amazing. Got
Totally
all of
blew my
that
mind.
encompassed. Just completely reframed my idea of what a game is, especially like an RPG style game or an adventure style game. And it doesn't have to be linear. It's completely different than anything. Like, it's not the same item based. You get the heart and you get the potion and you get the this, and then you use them for very specific purposes, and then you go about your business, and yay.
And you do a dungeon and you get an item in that dungeon that has to be used on the boss, and then you never use that item again.
It was just kind of, this is what you do.
Yes.
And instead, it's like, no, it's kind of real life. It was almost a real life simulator, but with all sorts of baddies.
You could run to Ganon with a stick if you wanted to, but
yeah, it's another level type of game. And so like, it impacted me so much. The story was one thing, but it really was just about the experience itself. Being so new in every possible way, in the same way that I felt with Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy X playing those. It was like, there's no other game I can think of that just shattered my reality of what a game is, and start to finish.
Okay, my next question for you is, have any games made you cry?
A lot of games have made me cry, but for various reasons, and mostly later on in my gaming. I can't think of a single game when I was younger.
Me either.
Well, lies. I can think of 2. Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy X made me cry when I originally played them as a kid. I didn't really cry at a game at all for the better part of 2 decades that I can think of, until I started getting back into gaming around the 2021 time period. And since then, oh goodness, it's been a roller coaster.
As you get older, things just hit differently. You experience different things in life.
I found myself crying all the time. I was like, why am I crying at Breath of the Wild? I'm cutting grass. This doesn't make
selling
sense.
crickets.
But
I cannot believe
Breath of the Wild made me cry for just the experience of it being so new.
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom made me cry. Story, holy moly. I cried a handful of times in Tears of the Kingdom.
So did I.
So yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, let's see, Air, Memories of Old made me cry. That was a
lovely game. That was a really lovely game.
And it just surprised me. And again, kind of the time of life that I was in, and it wasn't a negative cry of like, oh, I'm sad about this or anything that the game did, but the story and just finding the way that you find the information in it just kind of hit me in a way. And like, so that one made me cry. Pokemon Puzzle League is an N64 game. It's basically like a puzzle matcher. It's not like Tetris, but it's one of those games where the blocks either fall, or in this one they kind of move from up, and so you have different colored blocks and you try and move them and match them to delete them. So me and my neighbor Morgan, who I grew up with, and it's my soul sister forever, every time we get together over the holidays and we come back to visit our parents over the holidays. It's the one time that we know we're going to see each other is around Christmas. And we always play Pokemon Puzzle League. She still has their original N64 and that game.
So that has a whole lot of memories attached to it.
Oh, it's decades of us. That was the one game that her and I would play. No one else, her brother or my sister didn't like it, but we were obsessed with it. We have this weird thing where we have to say the name of the Pokemon when we pick it. And so if it's Cloyster, we'll be like, Cloyster. It's just us like uttering nonsense while doing this crazy puzzle thing at like rapid speed and not paying any attention to other people, but just being like, Charmeleon! Cloyster. Without fail, every time we play it, we're crying of laughter.
Yeah.
We're just like laughing so hard to a point where like typically we just have to stop playing because we can't see anymore.
Yeah.
Filled with tears. And then Soul Calibur 4, I believe it was 4. And me and my cousin, again, it always comes back to ZeCollector, the original.
ZeCollector.
And we were playing, and then this character, Amy, I hit his character, and her dress flew off, and her character was just in underwear. And that has never happened before in the game. There was never, like, that was part of the person. Like, their armor or their outfit was...
It was not
could
separate.
Not be affected in any way. And we had no idea. And then suddenly it was just me fighting this girl in basically like a swimsuit. We had no idea this was going to happen. And it took us by surprise. I laughed so hard. I nearly died. It was one of the funniest gaming moments I have ever had in my life.
I love moments like that in games with friends or with family. I love it. I really love that some of the games that have made you cry happy tears. That's probably the first time I've ever had anybody say that in an interview. Most of the time it's either they're mad or they're like sad because it was a story thing or whatever. Okay, so my next question for you comes multiple days later because we got interrupted and we had to continue this interview a couple days later. My next question for you is, what are your favorite games?
So I've compiled a top 5. Number 5 would be Pokemon Puzzle League. Just the joy and the longevity of that game in my life is, in terms of favorites, it's hard to think of anything that is more fun for me. And it's like that, even if it's not a game that I owned, but the connection of me and my friends with that game through the last 25 years, it had to be on the list. I was like, I can't not do this.
Yeah, lots of memories wrapped up in that one.
So much. So Pokemon Puzzle League. 4, I'm going to go with Final Fantasy X. Just fantastic game. Changed the way that I think about things in gaming. Story-wise, the soundtrack, the graphics. 3, Breath of the Wild, brackets, Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay, so kind of both of them.
Tears of the Kingdom is objectively a better game in my opinion. Tears of the Kingdom took so much of what Breath of the Wild did and improved upon the few things that really irked players.
Yep.
So if I look at it through an objective lens, Tears of the Kingdom is a better game. But Breath of the Wild, again, based on previous comments I've made, it had more of an impact and it stayed with me more. 2 is Kingdom Hearts. Again, we're just on a
Kingdom Hearts 1.
Roll. Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yes.
But also, again, in brackets, Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay.
So it's a very similar situation to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Kingdom Hearts 1, the original, is so impactful to me and will always be the Kingdom Hearts game for me personally. But Kingdom Hearts 2 is objectively a better game in every way. It took me 2 times playing the game to come to that conclusion. When I first played Kingdom Hearts 2, I didn't even finish it. I did not like the changes that they made.
Yeah.
I was so ingrained in what Kingdom Hearts 1 was that I could not get behind. And they were subtle. It wasn't like they dramatically changed the battle style or anything, but they added some mechanics and the story's different. And then I waited about a decade to go back to it and revisit it. And then it was like, oh my gosh, this is so much better.
So when you waited, did you only play the second one, or did you play the first one and then the second
I
one?
played the first one.
Oh, okay. So you did the
So
same
this is,
thing. You played the first one and then the second one. And after
yeah,
that period of time, it just hit differently.
that's number 2.
Okay.
Number 1 is, again, we're just rinsing and repeating here, Pokemon Gold / Silver version, which is, yeah, nothing more needs to be said from my end on that, I think. One of my top honorable mentions is Star Ocean Till the End of Time, which, again, PS2
Oh,
game.
dang. I've never even
I
seen that
have,
game before.
yes. So Star Ocean is also Square Enix. It's just a great RPG. It took elements of Final Fantasy X, elements of Kingdom Hearts, merged them together. So that's a great one. Pokemon Stadium in 64.
Okay.
Similar to Pokemon Puzzle League, super fun, just great memories of that game and what it can be. The mini games are amazing. Pokemon Legends Arceus, which I do have.
That's kind of
here.
recent, isn't it?
This is recent. So this came out in early 2022.
Okay, yes.
Pokemon Legends Arceus took what the Pokemon franchise had done for 24 years and turned it on its head. It
Oh,
introduced
nice.
a completely new way to play the game. It was a little bit more mature. Okay, rapid fire. Portal, amazing. Other honorable mention, Hades. I'll just say that I love it. This game, I put a ton of hours into it. It's just a really fun game that I have grown to love so much. Story's great. Hollow Knight.
It's one of mine.
Gotta give it credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
It is a fantastic platformer.
It's a great game.
Challenging. It was interesting, visually stimulating. The soundtrack is Legend of Zelda.
Oh, is that Oracle of... Okay, pull it back just a little bit.
Oracle
of Seasons. Oh my gosh,
also
that's me.
Ages. I only have Seasons with me, but I played Ages first.
I did too.
My sister had Seasons. I had Ages.
Those games are excellent games.
Fantastic Zelda games.
Very underrated games.
Ah, so good.
I loved those games, and I don't feel like they get enough appreciation. Okay, so my last question for you is, why do you like playing video games?
I mean, why do any of us like playing video games?
It's the question.
It brings you joy. That's my primary reason for playing games, is it makes me happy to experience a game that challenges me, that makes me think about things differently, that introduces a story that I love the experience of playing a game. It transports you to a place that doesn't exist in reality. And sometimes we want a break from reality. So many of us have talked about this in games in general, but it's an interactive experience that you can't have in any other way as well. So yes, it can transport you to a different place, but you can watch a movie, you can watch a TV show, you can go out. I love hiking and backpacking and going out into the mountains, and like that's its own experience that's so different from anything else I do. And I feel completely unique when I go and do those things. And I have a similar feeling with playing video games for the first time that are new, where it's like, this is a completely unique experience that can only exist within this realm. The beauty of that is, like any trail that you go on for the first time, you have that with any game that you play for the first time.
Yeah.
They're completely different, but similar in the way that they make you feel. And I just appreciate that so much. And they've changed my life. You know, I wouldn't be the same person if not for games. If not for Pokemon and all of the RPGs that I played, and taking breaks and then coming back to them and just feeling engaged in a way. And you build community, you find people with shared interests around a game, and someone maybe you never would have talked to, maybe you never would have met. If you have that camaraderie around a game, you are instantly connected to that person. I also just love soundtracks. It gives you so much. It gives you music, it gives you visuals, it gives you story, it gives you emotions, all that.
All the
but also
feels.
Just the challenge of difficult games and overcoming that, like that feeling of accomplishment when you beat a hard boss.
Oh yeah.
When you 100% Kingdom Hearts 2 and beat that one guy who took you 72 tries. It's painful. But it's worth it in the end because it's like there is no other feeling like that. There is only one type of video game boss beating accomplishment.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say, I don't feel like I've ever felt that same kind of euphoria when I finish a book. Like, even if
yeah.
it's a book I love, I'm not like,
Well,
yes, I
it's almost because
did
it's
it!
like no, that's the main thing. Just transporting you to a different place, having that feeling of wonderment, always experiencing something new with every game, story, soundtracks, visuals. But yeah, that would be it. Just kind of those things, and then the feeling of accomplishment when you get past a really difficult challenge in a game is
There isn't
it's
anything quite
special.
like it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with me about games. This has been a long time coming, and I'm glad we were finally able to get together and do it. So I appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and you're just a blessing to the Twitch world, and we're all thankful to be a part of the community, and we appreciate what you're doing and bringing joy to everyone and happiness and love and
Well,
yeah,
thank you. You're so
important.
kind. I am so grateful for you taking the time to talk to me, and I am also grateful to you guys for tuning in. So I will see all of you guys next time.